Good evening, folks, and welcome back to day number 51 of the Bible in 365. Today we are taking a look at Numbers chapter 26, beginning in verse 35, and we're exploring all the way to Numbers chapter 28, ending in verse 31. All right, folks, you know the drill. Let's get started. All right, so our reading today picks back up in Numbers 26, wherein a military census is taking place. The text has already made mention of 7 ancestral tribes and the counting of men over the age of 20. These are men who are military ready. The second half of the chapter is structured similarly. Today we read of an account of the clans of Ephraim, the clans of Benjamin, the clans of Dan, of Asher, and of Naphtali. The text then tells us in verses 52 through 56 that this accounting would also be used to divide up the inheritance. In other words, to divide up the land of promise, the promised land, the land flowing with milk and honey. So, once again, this accounting would be used to divide up the inheritance of the promised land for the Israelites. Now, the text also mentions in verses 63 through 65 that this census only includes new people. If you remember back, the Lord told the Israelites in the wilderness that they would surely die, and that the only ones who would remain would be Caleb and Joshua. And this turns out to be true. And at this point, Moses as well. But the census only includes new people. They had not been included in the previous census. All right, folks, moving forward to Numbers chapter 27. In the first 11 verses of chapter 27, they discuss the unique situation of Zelophehad and his daughters. His daughters essentially find themselves in a unique situation without inheritance because their father did not leave behind any sons. And so their request is for property so that their father's name does not disappear from amongst his clan. And so Moses brings this query before the Lord, and the Lord tells him to surely give them property. The text then gives the order of inheritance among the Israelites. It goes from the son to the daughter to the brothers to uncles to the nearest relative. Now, the second half of the text informs the reader that Joshua is to succeed Moses in terms of leadership. The Lord tells Moses to go up to a particular mountain so that he could see the promised land, and then that he will be gathered to his people just as Aaron his brother was. Now Moses asked that the Lord would appoint someone new over the community of Israel in terms of leadership, a shepherd, so to speak. And so the Lord has Moses lay hands on Joshua and Eleazar as well, to lay hands on Joshua to commission Joshua before the congregation of Israel. The Lord also tells him to go ahead and to give Joshua some of Moses' position and authority and power so that the Israelites will obey him while Moses is still alive. And so Moses does this. Moving on to Numbers chapter 28. This chapter discusses offerings. It discusses daily offerings, which is 2 lambs every day as regular burnt offerings, one offered in the morning and another at twilight. And this would be paired with a drink offering as well. The chapter also discusses Sabbath offerings, and this includes 2 lambs, a drink offering, and a grain offering, in addition to the regular daily burnt offerings and drink offerings. The text then notes offerings that occur on the first day of every month, which includes 2 bulls, a ram, 7 lambs, a grain offering as well. And there's also a sin offering of 1 male goat that is offered each month as well. And this is in addition to the daily offerings. There are also special instructions within this chapter that are given for the Passover, which is the 14th day of the first month. And there's also special instructions regarding offerings for the Festival of Weeks. Make sure to take a look at the details there for both of those. It is here with this discussion of offerings that our reading and exploration of the text is for today. I hope you will join me tomorrow as we take a look at Numbers chapter 29, beginning in verse 1, and explore all the way to Numbers chapter 31, ending in verse 47. As always, folks, God bless.